at 5.
Mr. President, are you a racist?
A firestorm surrounding President Trump.
Calling the nations they come from sh**holes. The exact word used by the president, not just once, but repeatedly.
Tonight, the backlash over the president's controversial comments.
And those comments coming during a meeting on immigration, and specifically when the topic of restoring protections for people of Haiti and African nations came up.
This story especially big news for South Florida, home to one of the largest Haitian communities in the United States. We begin our team coverage with CBS 4's Elliot Rodriguez live in the control room. Elliot.
Well, Rick and Rudabeh, 7 members of Congress were in the room with President Trump when he allegedly made shockingly vulgar and even racist statements on immigration. Senator Dick Durbin was the only Democrat in the room, and he says he clearly heard the president make the comments. Others in the room say they either don't remember or are vague about what they heard, but no one has come out to defend the president.
This is it's an important day, Martin Luther King Jr.
President Trump signed a proclamation honoring Martin Luther King Day amid reports he made an apparently racist statement during an Oval Office meeting. Senator Dick Durbin says he was proposing restoring protections for immigrants from Haiti, Africa, and El Salvador when the president interrupted, saying, "Why do we want all these people from these expletive-hole countries here? We should bring in more people from places like Norway."
And when I mentioned that fact to him, he said, "Haitians, do we need more Haitians?" When we started to describe the immigration from Africa that was being protected in this bipartisan measure, that's when he used these vile and vulgar comments, calling the nations they come from the exact word used by the president, not just once, but repeatedly.
In all, there were 7 members of Congress in the meeting. Durbin was the only Democrat. Miami Congressman Mario Diaz-Balart is sidestepping the issue, releasing a statement saying there are almost 800,000 young DACA beneficiaries who will face imminent deportation in March if we do not reach a deal. I will not be diverted from all possible efforts to continue negotiating to stop the deportations. Nothing will divert my focus to stop the deportation of these innocent people whose futures are at stake. Senator Lindsey Graham, who was also at the meeting, issued a statement saying, "Following comments by the president, I said my piece directly to him yesterday. The president and all those attending the meeting know what I said and how I feel. I've always believed that America is an idea, not defined by its people, but by its ideals."
I read those comments later last night. So first thing that came to my mind was very unfortunate, unhelpful.
I doubt that a comment like that would have been made if somebody like me is sitting across the table from you.
Utah Congresswoman Mia Love is the first Haitian-American woman elected to Congress.
At the end of the day, that's the biggest issue. We need to make sure that we're not derailed from what we're trying to do in fixing immigration reform.
The president denied the reports on Twitter. He wrote, "The language used by me at the DACA meeting was tough, but this was not the language used. What was really tough was the outlandish proposal made, a big setback for DACA."
To no surprise, the president started tweeting this morning denying that he used those words. It is not true. He said these hate-filled things.
This afternoon, Hillary Clinton chimed in, tweeting, "The anniversary of the devastating earthquake 8 years ago is a day to remember the tragedy, honor the resilient people of Haiti, and affirm America's commitment to helping our neighbors. Instead, we're subjected to Trump's ignorant, racist views of anyone who doesn't look like him." Now, going back to the people in the room, Senator Lindsey Graham has reportedly told his colleague, Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina, that Trump did indeed make the vulgar remarks. Senators Tom Cotton and David Perdue say they do not recall hearing the statements. Congressman Kevin McCarthy and Bob Goodlatte have remained silent on the matter. In the control room, Elliot Rodriguez, CBS 4 News.
Elliot, thank you very much. This issue, of course, hits home for a lot of people here in South Florida. According to the Migration Policy Institute, the United States has the largest Haitian population outside of Haiti. And in Florida, we have the largest Haitian population within the U.S. An estimated 80,000 are in Miami-Dade and Broward each, and another 56,000 live in Palm Beach County.